Okay. Hi, everybody. I hope you are hearing me well.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
welcome to the Politically Incorrect. This is our second episode. After several months ago, me and Ninrock had the first one, but now we are back, and it will be more politically incorrect episodes in the future. And today, hi Ninrock, I say first, and Mustafa, hi. And today we have a very important guest with us. His name is Mustafa Sayegh. He's the founder of the first ex-Muslim organization in Denmark, and he's the author of the book called Free. So today we will talk first we will have conversation with Mustafa about apostasy, his Mustafa, and his activism and establishing of organization, his book, and of course we will talk about all other current topics, from status maybe to the slavery to the racism, and everything we can talk in about 1 hour and maybe more. I don't know. And later we will of course try to answer questions from audience as much as we can. Now and Ninrock, you have to just come between me and Mustafa whenever you want.
Yeah, I will. I'll try to be better at doing that.
Yeah,
I can't see anybody. The chat is empty.
Yeah, no.
Comments.
I can show. There is comments. I can see this.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you can see them. I can see them.
Like this one, for example. I will put like you can follow comments on the browser. I think you can do that. Okay.
I'll just
Mustafa,
cut right in then, and I will cut right in and then just say congratulations, Mustafa, and so happy that you contacted me. It's a very, it's an honor to have you here, and it's great what you've done. It's needed everywhere, and I'm very, very happy that Denmark has you to start it for them, to start ex-Muslims of Denmark. And really looking forward to getting to know you. And
I just want to also add, unfortunately, one have to have very much courage even in 2020 to start speak out or speak against Islamic ideology and dogmas, and this is crazy, But unfortunately, people have to have much courage, and I believe you have this one. Mustafa, can you talk about a little bit about your background and who is Mustafa and your apostasy, please?
Well, well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I was an infant as I came to Denmark with my parents from Lebanon. They fled from the civil war in Lebanon in 1985, and they came to Denmark. And we lived in a small town in Denmark, actually the oldest town in Denmark. It's called Ribe. It's a small town. There wasn't like any other Muslim families. I think we were 3 or 4 other families, Muslim families in the area. And so I grew up with Danish friends. All my friends were Danish, and I felt as a Dane when I was a kid. I didn't really identify myself with Islam, but of course I knew I was different. I knew I was a Muslim because I was told from birth. Actually, from birth I was told I was Muslim. We do this, and we don't do that, and we don't do that, and all these indoctrination that comes with it. But and And in my teenage years, we moved to a bigger city where we actually moved into a ghetto. So we moved from this small town with only Danish friends to a ghetto where all my friends were Muslims all of a sudden, right? So I actually have felt like two different camps, and I lived two different lives actually, and saw the difference. But I never felt like I was a Muslim. I never felt that, even when I was a kid and had to learn to pray and read the Quran and all that. I never felt like I wanted to do that. But I never had the courage to say no or leave it. So I actually just uh, yeah, throughout the teenage years, I was seeking some kind of identity for myself, so like we all do. But this Islamic identity always weighed a lot on my shoulders, and I also always felt like I had to make my parents proud, and everything I did was like so my family and my parents don't like lose face. Or what do you say in English? Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like they
the
don't lose
honor.
the honor exactly. And
Yeah.
every choice I did, like in a good, even if I took a job, or if I also have been married Islamic with a Muslim girl, also had been married. Everything I did, it was like for the honor, for the family, and for their Islamic picture of how I should be. But I never.
Just before I forget, was it arranged marriage, or it was
Well,
you?
I wouldn't say arranged. It was like my parents knew her family and they like connected us, but I there was never any like really feelings. It was more like it's like a bargain. Like I went into a shop and I made a deal with her dad, and then we just arranged it. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't
That's what an arranged marriage is. So
well, no,
yeah.
because she also, yeah, okay, but she also wanted it. That's the difference. I mean that arranged marriage. When I hear the word arranged, it's like no one really wants to be married with the other one. You know what I
That's
mean?
more like forced marriage.
No. This is
All right,
for
okay.
that is
There
But
was
it is,
yeah.
it is,
arranged.
Yeah.
you know, what I hear is that it was arranged for you, what you are going to believe in, who you're going to be friends with, what you are going to do in
Hmm.
general is being decided for you.
Yeah, okay,
So you just
arranged.
go along with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just go along
and
with
and
it,
and
and
and it was the easiest thing for me to do back then. Like just to go along with it and do it, like again for the honor and for all this respect, as you call it, because I
yeah,
felt when I got a lot of respect from other Muslims. Now I'm married and all these things, and it was like fake and empty, this respect. I didn't really get anything from it. I didn't believe it, but I did it, right. So at some point, well, I don't know. I've gone a long way now, right? Do you want to
Yeah,
know
no,
anything between the marriage and the birth?
it just the screen
no
froze.
problem.
Yeah. Well,
It broke up. I didn't hear that. Can you
No,
repeat
I
that,
just
please?
said Mustafa just continued. It is okay. You can talk
yeah,
about anything. It is nice to
Yeah,
hear.
but the screen froze
the screen froze.
It
for a
is
moment
maybe
there. Yes.
just on your, maybe refresh it, please. No.
Well,
Okay.
Oh no, but then it's fine. And
Okay. Just continue.
well, the thing is, I've been I've been like this quiet boy all my life. Actually, I've been this like, of course, I've always had a smile on my face when I was a kid, also, but I never really spoke out loud or like stood my ground. Anything. I was very naive also as a kid, and uh, a lot of people around me always like they had an impression on me, and I didn't really have my own opinion. Like that's how I was as a young kid and a teenager. Also, never really had my own opinion in that way or spoke out. So as soon as I started to do that, as soon as I like was honest to myself, how I felt and what I really wanted, I just saw how the people around me, like family, friends, everything around me, how they they did not just not agree. They wanted me to shut up. Like, it's okay if you don't agree with me, that's okay. But the way they did it was like they wanted me to shut up, and I didn't understand that because I was outspoken. All of a sudden, I also made music, started to write lyrics that wasn't appropriate in their eyes, and that triggered me somehow. That they wanted me to shut up when I was finally speaking out and being happy about that I spoke out, right? And that triggered me somehow to speak even more publicly
It's
about it,
because
right?
individuality interferes with the system.
Yeah,
They cannot have independent thought.
exactly. Yeah.
But did I miss it? But your parents, they are Sunni Muslims, right?
Sunni Muslims, yeah.
Were they moderate or religious or
Yeah, I would say moderate in a way that they wanted to teach us the Quran and everything about Islam, but they also wanted us to be free in a way that we could have Danish friends. We could watch.
maybe you are maybe because you are a boy? Have you
Well,
sister?
no, but my sister also, but there was a difference. I know that there was a difference between me and my sisters. Like, what can I allow to do, and what could my sister? That's no question about that. That there was a difference, but they tried. My parents tried to balance this Islamic identity and the way of life in Denmark. But I don't believe that you can do it like that. Not if you want to keep this Islamic idea in your head and at the same time want to live in a free society. I don't believe that, and it came. I saw that in my upbringing. That you cannot do it. I was lying to my parents where I went so I can go party and stuff, and that's the way a lot of young Muslims are living. They are living two lives because they want to make their parents happy and they want to do what they want to do.
And the community happy and the relatives too.
And the community, of course, but because
Yeah.
my parents, I felt that every time they had the company, I could see this kind of a game that they were playing, like who's the better parent, like who's teaching their kid more about Islam than the other, and all this this bullshit, and yeah, it comes down on us as the kids.
I think like
So
the majority of Muslims, the false honor, like like mask they have, even
Yeah.
they don't practice Islam actually they don't pray 5 times a day, but they want to be inside the circle Islam.
Of
They
course,
identify
because
themselves Muslims.
exactly, because when you are inside this circle, you can do anything, and people will say, "We'll forgive you," as long as you are Muslim.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
when I was representing Islam or calling myself a Muslim, I could actually do anything. I could be the biggest asshole on earth, and people would still forgive me and say, "Look the other way." But as soon as I left Islam, everything I do is a is a problem, right?
Yes.
but did you have to hide from your parents that you wanted to be integrated, that you were integrated when you were not at home in the
Uh,
Danish society?
there was a lot of things that I had to hide from my parents, yeah, but most of the things is like, yeah, partying. I don't know if you can call that integrated, but I guess I know what you mean. But there was a lot of things that I couldn't talk with my parents about. Like I couldn't talk about my parents about sex or anything or a girlfriend or something. That I couldn't talk about it with them unless I had to
About
marry
your
her and
social,
she had to be, yeah, my social life, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But back to the your like when did you come out like I'm no Muslim anymore, and you
Wow.
say this to your
Publicly.
friends or publicly, yeah, or family
Yeah,
or
I actually said it the first time to my ex-wife. I was like fed up with the lie that I was living. I was trying to be a Muslim and all this, and I remember saying to her, I was like cursing out Allah and the Prophet and all that, and said I don't want to have anything to do with this, and she got mad. Okay, she got mad, and then actually our relationship was broken anyway, right? But we had to split up finally. couldn't take it anymore. She got more radical also, like a lot of things just changed. And when we left, the whole rumor in the community was I wasn't a Muslim anymore. I was cursing out the Prophet and the Quran and all that, and all the community was against me. Like we were in a divorce, like between a husband and a wife, a divorce, but everybody else had an opinion about it and started like I got phone calls at night, people threatening me because we had a kid. We had to I had to fight for my kid to see him. Because in Denmark, the mother gets the kid like automatically when you split up. I don't know if it's the same in Norway, but in Denmark, the mother actually has the most rights, and that's okay. But I had to fight for my kid. But they tried to do anything to like stop me from trying to get my kid. And at that point, I felt okay. If and I wasn't going public about it at that time. But at that point, I thought to myself, okay, if that's how I'm going to be treated, because I don't want to be a Muslim, or I don't want to have my son growing up in strong religious indoctrinated home, and don't want him to. I want him to eat pork if he wants to eat pork. I want him to go to swimming pool if he wants to do that. I want him to date whoever he wants to date, and if that's a problem, that I have this. Attitude, and then well, fuck it, I'm gonna go public. And at that point, I just wrote my first article in the paper, and then got on.
And you did the right thing, really right thing.
Of course, I don't feel it's a crime to have this wish to be free in Denmark. Okay, if we lived in Saudi Arabia or something, okay, you can live however you want, but yeah.
It reminds me even the Turkey. I'm from Turkey, and Turkey should be like the West, thinking they are secular country, but they are not.
Yeah. No.
All the story you are telling me, it reminds me my street, Gata. My city and the community, how they react and how they push others' life and choices. It is crazy to hear, and this is happening in the middle of the modern
Denmark,
West in Denmark. It's crazy. But did you had research about Islam, or you just like born an apostate? You had your doubts.
I believe we all are born apostates or atheists.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
did you reach out for like literature or people who were ex-Muslims? Yes.
About Islam?
No, about leaving Islam.
About leaving Islam? No, I actually didn't, because I always, like in so many years before I actually said it out loud, I never really felt like I was believing in this. So I didn't really look out for any information about it, or even atheism. I didn't really read about what is that actually. I just knew it was not believing in a God. So yeah,
I think like I used to feel like Islam makes no sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. And as a girl, as the
but how old were you when you said it out loud?
It was gradually. I remember the day I ate pork for the first time. That was the day I decided that I am not a Muslim anymore.
Okay.
I don't want to be, because I wanted to be like people around me. I wanted to be like people who were free. I wanted to be free. I couldn't be that as a Muslim woman. So, but still, for many years, I would say I'm not Muslim, but I would also say that Islam is not the problem, because I didn't want the kind of persecution from Muslims. I did not want to end up in the situation where they all hunt you. I had trouble with my family and stayed away from them, but I didn't want Muslims who live around you, like all random Muslims to start fights and threaten me and such. So I used to say, no, it has nothing to do with Islam, but I am not a Muslim. But when I met Jamal, that's when I decided to, admit that, yeah, I am an ex-Muslim. Of course I am. I've always been an ex-Muslim. And I also didn't dive hard enough into the literature, the Islamic literature, before that. But when I did, I realized that it's a strategy for war. It's a religion that is very controversial. It is a religion of slaves of Allah who thinks that they are superior and then that they can own the rest of the world. That if you are not a Muslim, you are a Muslim slave.
Yeah.
A slave for the Muslim, who are again slaves for Allah. So it's like slavery on slavery.
Yeah.
So I also never felt like a Muslim ever, but I was too afraid to say it out loud.
Yeah, well, I remember also before the moment when I said this to my wife that I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I used a lot of my years went on like trying to convince myself that I could be a Muslim in a different way, and it don't have to be like this, and I can do it my own way. Like I was trying to convince myself that I could do that, but it was also like I cannot see how you can do that. It's like saying I want to be a Nazi, but I don't want to kill Jews. That you cannot do that. You know what I mean? The ideology is still there, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Yeah.
Many people, I believe many people doesn't understand how Islam works, because this story is like we know when we are talking each other, like I believe majority of Muslim people are apostates. They don't believe everything in Islam, and even they feel and they see many stupid things, but cannot go out of this circle, because of community, because of all the traditions and all, and the lack of freedom. If they have the freedom of choice in the Muslim countries, Islam will die very fast, and it's dying actually. Many people thinking like you, Mustafa, and they decide, but it's a long period. Like it's like me. I haven't become an apostate in a short period. It took many years to come out, but I was out actually long before. Like stop praying five times a day and focusing in the life in Turkey, working hard, but many things.
Yeah, I wasn't even like praying or reading the Quran or interesting in the Quran at all in many years. Like I don't even remember the last time I had the Quran in my hand. It's like at that point, like I always knew I don't want to. Even when I was a kid and my parents tried to learn us about the Quran, I didn't want to do it. I wanted to see cartoon and or anything else. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I never felt it in the heart. So yeah, I believe that there's a lot of people. Yeah.
But the other side is about that is dangerous. Also, they are like many not practicing Islam, but they are carrying Islam. When something's happened, like a caricature of Muhammad crisis, or the innocence of Muslim movie crisis, and the other crisis, blasphemy crisis. Like all normal Muslims, so-called moderate Muslims, even joining the same protesters. We are seeing many hundred thousands in the streets of Pakistan, and this is crazy. I think in Islam, like even the most peaceful, moderate Muslim suddenly became extremist.
Yeah, and they're actually defending the extremists. I believe it's because they are trapped and they feel like they have to do it to not to get excluded from the society, from their trap, their jail. They're afraid to be outcasted. They have to do it to save their honor, their so-called honor. I believe that's the motivation around that, and it's also embedded in the identity of a Muslim. I remember myself, when somebody asked, "Are you Muslim?" I said, "Yeah, I'm Muslim." Yeah, and never really thought about it. I just automatically, yeah, I'm Muslim. And anybody in the media or something were talking about Islam, I felt like they were talking about me because I'm a Muslim. And that's the crazy thing about Islam. It's not just a religion. It's your whole identity. It's your whole thought. It's your everything.
Yeah, it have to be hard for many people, like me too. It was to find yourself engaged with something very extreme. It is a lot of atrocities happening around the world in the name of Islam, and you calling yourself Muslim, and even you are not practicing, and you identify yourself with this extreme ideology. It have to be shameful for many, but it is difficult to go out of this cult.
It's absolutely insane. Yeah,
it's just like the anti-racist. They are the most racist people I ever meet. The anti-racist, because all they see is skin color and religion and gender. And they call themselves anti-racist, and they are the biggest racist.
Yeah,
I feel like most Muslims are like that. They are unaware of how terrible Islam is, but they defend it.
Yeah,
they ignore everything wrong that is being done in Islam's name, and they just defend it because they cannot be called a racist.
Yeah.
So,
like before the broadcast, I asked you, have you met some racist people in Denmark, like far right? And you start to say something, and I stop it. I said, okay, tell this when we started. Have you met with some far right white Danish people who want to kill you?
Racist. Yeah.
Yes.
When I was still identifying myself as a Muslim, I saw racists everywhere. Everywhere. They were everywhere. Around any corner, everybody was a racist. I remember that. And now I don't know. They are disappeared all of a sudden. I don't know where they're gone, but yeah, I think it's what I mean.
Because I understand you very well, because many people they ask me, I say I was far right before, because I was with the Muslim Brotherhood in Turkey, and this is a far right political movement. But the hypocrisy is that a lot of Muslim people, when they come to the West, they are sporting extreme left side, like the communist parties, But when they go to home in Pakistan, in Turkey, in Lebanon, they give a vote to the most far right parties. So actually, many Western people doesn't understand that Islam is very far right ideology in its core. It is in theology even. And when we were Muslim, we are like a nation. They ask first, not where are you from? They ask you, are you Muslim? Or if you are like brown or black and like Middle Eastern man, like we are identifying ourselves like a ummah, a nation. And this is one supremacist, and in the same time, because of when Muhammad say that Muslims are the best nation, there is a hadith, Sahih hadith. Muslims are the best nation because they bring the unbelievers with the chain in their neck.
But if Hitler was saying "Ein Volk," then the people are going crazy, right?
Yes.
But he's actually saying the same thing as the prophet is. If you think about it, it's the same thing. One ummah, one volk. It's the same. Ein Volk, wie sagt. No?
It's Hitler was a socialist, and he was. I know it's normal to say that they were right wing, but they were left wing. They were extremely left, and the left is just as extreme as when they were supporting Hitler when he was popular. Now Muhammad, they have made Muhammad popular because Muhammad is practically Hitler.
Yeah, and I don't even think that Hitler is it's also weird that we always use Hitler. Like we all use Hitler, but there was Stalin, Lenin, Mao. There's so many leftist terrorists in the history, and they still are here.
Yes,
And Mustafa, your book, I will read
Well,
when
the
I
left wing, yeah.
I will read it
I'll
when
send
I
it to
get.
you. Yeah.
Yes, but can you talk about a little bit about your book? What's about? Is it?
Well, it's about my upcoming and my road to this freedom, to this struggle, and how it affected me, and how I actually came to this point where I was breaking free, like how I came to this point. So it's a small book. I tried to like just use the main events of my life, like in the timeline, and just cook it down so it's easy to read and on the point. I feel it's straight on the point, and how I came to this choice.
How it's been a response from Danish people, Denmark?
People, yeah, but I don't feel like the I don't feel like the media or the, what do you call this in English, the reviews.
Mainstream.
Yeah,
Mainstream reviews.
it's like they don't want to touch it. Like it's a very hard to get them to talk about it. I had some response, of course, but it's not the as much as I was hoping for. Like
Expected. No. Is it because of it is not politically correct and it is not just talking about the culture and integration, but you name also the Islam, or
yeah,
maybe I
that's
don't know.
because that's the topic that I was breaking free from, the chains of Islam. I think it's very hard for the media to talk about this because they are afraid to be called out as racist or propaganda media and all this that Muslims usually call the media every time they write anything about Islam or anything critical about the religion. So I think it's a lot of fear that they don't want to touch it.
But you know, this make me very upset. I know what you mean, and it's happening here too. You know, like we have one book now, right now. Halvor Fosley have written one book, very good book, but not like nobody
On,
want. What?
yeah, like Unveiled. You've read the book Unveiled from
Yasmin a moment. Yeah,
That's
the same.
the same
Yes,
issue,
yes.
same
Yeah.
problem.
Actually, we should have a seminar with Yasmin 1 month ago, but we
Okay.
have to cancel it because of coronavirus. But we will have her in after summer. We will have her in Norway. Yes. Then I hope you coming too, because we will invite you to here too. This our plan.
Be glad to come, yeah.
And it is sad to hear the response. Just I want to add that it have been like this because of the leftist. I have to put this word. It is the reality. In the West, something's happened with the leftists. They have alliance with the one religion, only one religion, and this is Islam.
Yeah.
If you write a book and don't mention Islam, only culture and integration, and then it's okay. Then they will put your book to top.
Especially if you criticize the country that you live in and the people in it. If you criticize it, they are more than happy to publish it. If
you are racist and you blame white people, then they love you. Because they have been programmed into believing that they are the only people who have ever conquered some other nation. Like Islam was never a conqueror of worlds. Like there was a
I think there's a misunderstanding on the left, because they used to, in Denmark anyway, they used to fight for the freedoms and the like the personal freedom of the individual. They used to fight for that
individual.
long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah, they used to do that, but so along the way they like lost their way and became these hypocrisy, this hypocrite. Like they want to fight for the freedom now, but only if you are black or only if you are suppressed by a white man. They will fight for you, but if you are suppressed by a religion of like Islam, if you're a woman that has to wear a scarf or anything, they like look the other way and they forget about it. And something is happening with that. They forgotten their own fight.
Yes,
they have
struggle.
To find their own
Even
ideas.
even hijab
I'm just-
became
it's
like
a-
a yeah. Sorry, Nero.
No,
Just
no, no.
continue.
You first.
Even
You
hijab became a symbol of freedom for the leftists in West.
Great, yeah.
It is crazy, you know. These people like have some kind of I don't, of course I have to say one thing, that not all of them, this we have to remember, not
But there
all
are
of the
some
leftists.
clever ones
Yes,
too.
yes. But the most of them, you know, like self-hatred, like you said. If you criticize their culture, then it's good for them. But if you support their culture, like if you support Danish culture, you want Danish nation will be there, you want to be one Danish, then they will hate you.
Exactly, yeah.
They
And-
want Muslims will be Muslims forever. They don't want Muslims will leave Islam, and this is so crazy, you know. Crazy.
Every time
I mentioned this backstage earlier. There was this guy today who I was talking about how Ghulam is a very normal name in Islam, because Ghulam means slave, and there are proud of saying that they are Allah's slaves. And he said to me to stop criticizing other people's religion and other groups. And I was like, other? They're not other, you know. They want, the leftists, they want so desperately for Islam to be the victim of white people that they don't let us make it better. They don't let us do anything about the terrible things Islam is doing. So yeah, it's just I'm just going to claim it. It is my religion. I will criticize it as much as I like. I should be free to claim any religion and say good things or bad things or whatever. It shouldn't be this identity politics division of what religion you should identify with or criticize or not. And I don't really remember what I was getting at here, but just
no, I get the point, because I get the point, because when I have like a debate with some from the far left, every time I tell them, you don't have to be sorry about me. I don't feel sorry about myself in Denmark. I don't think it's hard to be called Mustafa in Denmark. They get mad. They get mad when I say that. It's like they don't know how to respond to that. They get mad because they want me to feel sorry for myself and hate Denmark, and I don't understand the idea behind it, unless they want to use me as a political tool to get their own goals accomplised. Then I understand
you know, we
deep
have been
down, they have I'm just gonna deep down they are racist. The
I believe
asylum
so too,
the asylum giving parties, they deep down they don't understand you. They don't want to see you as equals. This is the racism of low expectation. They don't want to understand that you can be just as smart and cunning and deceiving as they are. And they just want you to be their victim so they can feel good about themselves and tell everyone that we are the good guys, vote for us. Because in the depth, this is about politics. It's not about religion or gender or skin color or anything. This is politics, and they're trying to brainwash masses, because without masses,
but
yes,
I also believe,
you get my point.
Yeah, and I agree. But I also believe that there is a big part of Muslims in Denmark, anyway, that use the left for their own agenda, because it's like they've seen an opportunity to use their own victimhood, their victimization, to achieve their own political goals, and that's a alliance it's dangerous if you anywhere in the world, in the history, if this alliance has never been good.
You know, many people
because
can
Allah has made because Allah has made the infidel stupid.
Yeah, they believe
That's
they believe that,
you know, some people who don't know our struggle and our activism may be wondering why we are talking about leftist, far left, and in our many conversation we are talking about that, because, you know, normally we had to had only one enemy, the Islamists, who want to stop us, who want to give death threats, who are killing us. But in the West, it became like the leftists, the first enemy, because of they are stopping us. From the start in Norway, even we have been called Islamophobe, we have been called far right, hater, and even with the state sport like newspapers. They from the start, and what we are what we say, nothing. We are talking about what Islam says. When we show the world what Islam saying in their scriptures, then we are haters. But when Muslims are reading the same passage in the mosques, this is religion of freedom. Many hypocrisy in here. Like one question here, say why the left has shifted their ideology. This is a big question, like you said. In 500 years, they fight it against the church, and they did blasphemy. They did wonderful job, but hard job. In this time, when in the age of enlightenment, when they attacked Christianity, they have been called haters too.
Yeah.
But today they are heroes. But now we are in the same situation. In Islam have never been any enlightenment, age of enlightenment, because of blasphemy laws. In 2020, even in 13 countries, there is death penalty against blasphemy and apostasy, because apostasy and blasphemy is the same thing. And even other countries, like so-called secular Muslim countries like Turkey, it is prison sentences. People getting 1 year prison for one tweet about Muhammad. So it is, of course, they have to understand that we get angry to leftists because they do something wrong.
And we see it all coming to this country where we live, in Norway or Denmark. We see it becoming more and more a threat in these countries. We see it, how it grows.
Yes, and we see it, how how community is changing. For example, I have lived in Turkey half of my life.
Yeah,
I know all the righted rules and unrighted rules and traditions, culture, Islam, how the community works, and the corruption and honor culture and everything. It's moving to here. And when I say, hey, something's going wrong, we have to have better integration here. We have to have better immigration. We cannot have.
Yeah. And you know what they say? The leftists always say, well, it's their culture. They have the right to have it like that. But the white in this country, the Danish or the Norwegian, they have to hate their own culture. That's the hypocrisy that
there is a lot of hypocrisy. Like, I want to talk a little bit about also statues. Like, they are demolishing their statues right now everywhere. I get really angry when I saw the Thomas Jefferson's, the statue of Thomas Jefferson. They demolish it. Is it mine? Okay. Okay. I say that even Thomas Jefferson, the founder of the or father of the United States, or father of the almost all important modern values we have today in the West. We have to, thanks to Thomas Jefferson is one of them. Thomas Paine, Voltaire, and Spinoza, Kant.
It's crazy that they even think that demolishing a statue or some historic monument will change anything. It's absurd that they even think that. How will that change anything? It's not even a symbol of change. It's just stupidity. Because if they want to change, they have to look in the mirror like we all do.
Yeah, because hypocrisy we are talking about. This is, I think, Ninrok. If you have some other browser open, please close this.
What are you hearing?
I say to Ninrok.
I
Okay.
do not have anything else open.
Okay, now it's good. Now it's good. It was like some disturb
Nothing else.
Okay.
noise. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about shortly about slavery, for example. You know, slavery have been in the human history and all the time, before even the old religions we have today. And if they are really honest that we have to remove everything that had connection with the slavery, own it, sell it, or sport it, then they have to start firstly to demolishing the mosques and churches and synagogues. Why? Because these all three religions books is sporting slavery.
Yeah.
And all people who members of these religions who had something to do with the slavery got sport from these books.
Yeah.
So it is some very, and like today, you know, in Mauritania there is 20% of the population in Mauritania is slaves, and then I'm not talking about the modern slave, real slave selling, buying. And even if I have slave in Mauritania today, when I die, my son will own it and will be this slave's masters.
Slave
and
owner, yeah.
this is today, you know, nobody talking about.
No,
they are busy
They
with
don't
the.
want, they don't
because that's not
they
that's
don't
not
want to
the point.
know
Yeah.
about Islam. They just
I believe they know about all
they
this.
don't
but
want to
that's
know
not
about Islam, because if
that's-
they know what Islam really is, then they have to, yeah. But
I believe they
they
most of them
say
know
that
that.
they want to.
Yes.
The leading parties, they know it, and I mean, does it make sense to ask people to bend their knee when you are demonstrating against slavery? It makes absolutely no sense.
No.
They are not trying to abolish it, they are trying to create it.
You know, we will just go back to the ex-Muslims of Denmark and you again. But I just want to say, you know, I hope they will understand when we are talking about these things, because of we want that we want to support freedom of speech. That we should talk about Islam, mention Islam 100,000 times, mention Muslims 100,000 times, or Christians, or church, or slavery, or leftist, without being called like bigots, like racist, like haters.
Yeah.
So we want to normalize acceptance of freedom of speech. And ex-Muslims organizations first goal is to normalize acceptance of blasphemy and apostasy. So we are sharing and ridiculing Muhammad, ridiculing Islamic ideas, and this we have to have love. We have to have freedom to do. If we cannot do in the West, in Denmark, in Norway, then how people can do this in the Muslim countries? So we are one hope. I think I saw one comments how organization can help to people who will leave Islam. Yeah, we are helping with this video when we are talking. When they see that there are many many Muslim people cannot believe somebody can leave Islam even.
So I believe it's a very important effect, and that's also one of the points, one of the reasons that I wanted to start this.
Give hope and give especially young people. You know, they are asking why they call themselves ex-Muslim. This making some question, and this is a good thing. You know, when it is not problem there in Islam with apostasy and blasphemy, I will stop calling myself ex-Muslim. Because I'm calling myself ex-Muslim because I want to show and point that there is a problem to be one ex-Muslim today.
Yeah.
So easy like that. And I have read it that you get that threats from someone on newspaper. What did you do so much wrong, Mustafa? Can you please explain?
Well, I did the wrong thing that I did was to choose my freedom instead, and that's the wrong thing that I did. Like I told you before, because every time I talk about these threats and stuff, people are always like, usually Muslims or for people from the left, they always use this argument that I'm provocative, that I say things that make people angry, and that's why I get these threats. That's what they use as an excuse. And I always say, well, you weren't there when I got my first threat. I wasn't even speaking publicly when I got my first. They try to like, um, what do you call that in English? Like miscredit you as a person. That try
Yes,
to
yes,
make you,
discredit. Yes, yeah.
unbelievable, right? And
Yeah.
that's a normal thing that I see every time an ex-Muslim or somebody criticizes Islam. They always try to make you unbelievable in the eyes of other people. Like, don't believe,
Like I
don't believe.
saw, like I saw you shared one picture, a screenshot of somebody say you have never been Muslim. But in any
Yeah,
case,
yeah,
they say you have never been Muslim.
yeah.
But they say you are working with Jewish, like
Yeah.
paying by Israel, and you are spreading hatred, like
Yeah.
they are very good, everything's good, that you are spreading hatred. And
Yes,
they
yes.
and even they say you want to have friends like they say to me, oh yeah, you are just like, you want to have Norwegian friends, so
Yeah.
you want to be
Yeah.
with them, but you can never be like them, like this
Yeah.
stupid things they say.
Exactly. Yeah. That they don't really understand that it actually it shows how far from good integration we have in Denmark or Norway. It's like with Muslims all over the world, actually, everywhere where Muslims is a minority, they are not integrated with the people, and it shows every time. Even when I meet someone that's actually like a nice person to talk to, like a Muslim, and is reasonable to talk to, like he doesn't threaten me, or like you can have a normal discussion with this guy. Every time I have this, there is always some point where it's like his real face shows. Like he just turns, flips. Something is happens in the mind of these guys, and I believe this identity with Islam, that's the problem, because it's embedded in the mindset of the people, and it's hard to get rid of if you don't do it actively.
Yeah,
And
like in your blood,
it's
like
almost,
it's
yeah, almost in the
like
blood.
it's
Yeah,
in your
it's in
yeah.
the mindset. Yeah, it's a mindset. So you can change it. You can change your blood. That's what it is.
Yes,
But the
yes, yes, yes.
mindset is it can be changed. And I believe that a lot of people, a lot of young Muslims will be much happier if they like break free of this mindset and start to listen and to use the head.
They can be changed only if you exist, if you talk, and if
And if
other
you exist,
talk.
yeah, yeah,
Like this working, because it's happened to me. I was very Islamist, I was an Islamist in Turkey. I could be one terrorist even sometime, I think, if I hadn't wake up.
yeah,
And in this time, for example, I hated the critics, but I was lucky because in my country, in Turkey, it was then we had the critical voices who criticized Islam in this time.
okay, yeah,
Today became worst. Nobody talking. But before, in 1990s, they have been killed, yes, assassinated, yes, but they were there and they had books. First, I was angry to them. I hated them and I called them liar. But as more I read it, really, and I start to check and research, what if they say the truth? Then I find out myself after I started reading my books in my language.
yeah.
This is happening because without critical voices, nobody will wake up.
No.
So the West have to protect every critical voices against Islam. Either they are ex-Muslims or not. This is really
they actually just have to protect the freedom of speech, the right to speak your mind and to criticize any idea and spot any idea if you want.
Of course.
That's actually the only thing they have to do without like pick and choosing. Like you can criticize this, but you cannot criticize that.
But unfortunately, it is going the wrong way. It's look like
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
freedom of speech is just they are increasing and increasing. On the social medias we have many problems. Facebook
Facebook,
doing,
yeah.
YouTube doing, even, so much
Yeah.
in the last years. It is crazy. And in news, like the newspaper or media are not interested. They want to like make you invisible, like ignore you, like you are not existing. And some other even do worst. They are writing articles about you and lying. This happened to us. And even I get death threats from one from Antifa. Can you believe this?
Yeah.
Here he is writing that he have friends Antifa Norway, and he will one day he will come to Norway and he will put a knife to my heart. And it's not fake profile even, and he do this in public. We are living in crazy world. but I hope they will wake up. I hope they will do that.
I have a good feeling about in Denmark, the organization that we are building up now. I have a good feeling about the attention and also the media. I have a good feeling about it, that it will. I believe it will like make a good impact when it goes official, because it's still not official. Like we have in this meeting that I also wanted to invite you to. We have talked about that.
I will come. And just before Ninrok will say something, I just want to say now Norwegian people are watching us too, and they can hear too happily. I'm looking up now Denmark more than Norway. Do you know why? Because I see in Denmark many politicians are have more courage than Norwegian politicians in the right wing. I mean,
I also see it. I'm also very happy about that. Yeah.
And this make me happy. Then give me hope, because somebody have to stand and protect their country, their people. You, me, everyone, Muslims too. This is happening better.
It's become wrong to say that you're concerned about your country. When you say that, you'd be called racist or anything else, and that's the only thing that they're saying. They're saying they're concerned about immigration and their country. There's nothing wrong in that. I understand that there is a problem, and we have to address it.
The biggest, Nirok, maybe you will say something.
It has the similarity between what's going on in Islam and what's going on with the left-wing extremism, and it doesn't even have to be extreme, just left-wing at all, is that individual thought, the freedom of thought, it's being indoctrinated to be scared, constantly scared. I say to people that you are being cowards. You are not speaking up against what the jail they are putting your minds in. And people say we are afraid of losing our loved ones. We are afraid of losing our jobs, our friends, our social contacts, and their life practically. That's what Islam does too. It freezes you out of every comfort, of every familiarity, of every loved one you have. It just takes that away from you, and that's what they're doing right now with people in general. People are scared, really, really scared. And the more they stay scared, the more they're going to be buried into it. The answer is always going to be to just get up and reason with the stupidity, but people are being led into a mental situation of not using their reflection. People have forgotten how to think for themselves. And I see we don't have a whole lot of time left, and I had so many questions. Do you get a lot of support from ex-Muslims in Denmark? Are you guys a good big group?
I feel like it's becoming bigger and bigger every day, so that's a good thing. Because before I wasn't
great.
even but I wasn't even really connected with anybody before. I was like all by myself when I made my decision. So I came in like this lone wolf as an ex-Muslim, but I feel that it's become bigger and bigger, and get more people that contact me and also want to join the organization. So I have a good feeling about it. I'm looking forward to it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
And we will support you all time, and just ask us if you need anything. And And we will invite you to Norway with your book.
Yeah.
I want to do this again as soon as I have finished your book. I would love to do this again, and then we can talk about your book like really properly when we are ready.
But let's us not end it right now. We have to continue a little bit too. I believe. Yes. Okay.
I just feel like we didn't really,
but Mustafa, like in Norway, for example, even we have concerns. Like we, many ex-Muslims contacting us, and Norway is one long country, very long, and
it's like a guitar.
I mean, it's trusting. Trust. It is very important thing in ex-Muslim organization to trust people.
Yeah.
Because even ISIS soldiers can act like ex-Muslims.
Yeah.
Right.
I also that's actually also a thing that I wanted to ask you about on the meeting that we have gonna have, because I'm thinking that you have to have like a procedure when you get new members. You can't just let anybody in. You have to be careful.
This we can talk in privately too. This is a very important and difficult issue we have in ex-Muslim, but we are trying our best, and we are trying to trust people, but best to not tell your address, to tell your private things to everyone until you trusting, because we have this problem, and we cannot ignore that. We cannot ignore because
it's a concern. It's not a problem. It's a concern.
But because of mass immigration, mass immigration.
Yeah, but there has never been an ISIS inside of ex-Muslims of Norway. That is not an issue. We just don't want to scare people.
No, I don't want to say that.
I think it's that's actually what would be. We talked about that before we started the show. We talked a little bit about this, about concern or fear. It's okay to have a concern about it. That's a good thing. You have to be reasonable and have an eye open about it. But I don't believe that you should have this fear, because that's what they prey on. And I know these people. Yeah, you know them too. They prey on this fear. If they can intimidate you just by showing up somewhere. Then they can control you with this fear. And
I know. No. Maybe because of my bad English, I learned myself. This is my English.
No, it's okay.
I
think I understood what you actually were saying. So.
No one of us.
He was saying that ISIS are ex-Muslims or what?
No. Please listen. Okay, no one of us have fear. If we had fear, we were not here.
Exactly.
And I am not afraid of anything. My philosophical, even my life philosophy, not allow me to be afraid of anything. Because if things happen, things happen. But we have to I believe that I have to say the right thing if it's needed. And I have to do my contribution to the history as much as I can. Who I am, who is other one, it's not important. But this, I want to say that because of people can understand maybe that, it is not easy for us. Ex-Muslims organization is not an easy organization. We have to like Tahensin Nirok in.
You have to watch out. You have to be very careful.
Because we have young people inside our organization, for example, even 18 years old, 17 years old, and we have 70 years old man even. So we have to take care to them too. They are supporting us, they are with us, but you never know, because I put my life out, but I cannot do everyone. So it was just nothing. Okay, let's see if some question we want to answer before we end. I have to go back. Okay. Again, noise. I think I don't know. There maybe. Yeah. It's good. Many good messages there. But question I'm looking for.
Are you going to have a Facebook page?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a Facebook page and a website, and we're gonna try to expand it like that. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, I'm just asking now to audience if they have some question, they can hurry up.
Can we see the questions, or are you gonna read them out?
Yeah. No. You can see that. You can see there too. I think every one of us can see.
Yeah. You
Comment.
have to click on the live comments.
Yeah, live comments. Yes.
Oh,
I don't agree on a lot
comments.
of things Mustafa says, but I
Yeah,
accept
okay.
it.
I see him.
It
Yeah.
is. For example, this one. Okay, Khalid is don't agree on a lot of things Mustafa says, but he accepts it as it's his right. So thank you, Khalid. Then we say.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
It is good to not be agree with everything. Can you guys?
Yeah, but what exactly has Mustafa said that is disagreeable? He's told
Don't
us
need to
about how he
discussing.
grew up.
We have to respect. I'm not agree with him maybe, and I'm not agree with many people. Can you guys recommend any books? Okay, yeah. This I have to ask Mustafa first. Mustafa, your book. Can
yeah,
people buy your book online?
Yeah, but I know this guy Björn. Hi Björn. I know he actually showed up today to my book signing today earlier. He got my book, so yeah.
Okay, then I can recommend some book.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to turn back. About Islam, I believe Hamed Abdel Samed, Islamic Fascism, is one of the best book to understand the Islamic fascism. We have not so much actually good books in the last times, but but I don't know what kind of book Bjorn asking. For example,
I recommended him when I saw him on the book signing today earlier. I recommended him Unveiled by Yasmin.
Yes,
that's book I recommended him. Yeah.
Yes, I haven't read that yet, so
that's a great book.
Yeah, that is absolute. But one other book, Adonis. Violence and Islam. This is one of the best book I read in the last year. It is a conversation between the one philosopher from Syria. He's I think 80 or 19 years old. Adonis. It is a very good book. I recommend that. Islam and Violence. I think. No, Violence and Islam. Book name. And did some other here Bill Warner, somebody recommend. Yes, it is a good books. I have many on ebooks. See you in Odense tomorrow, Mustafa. Harm Ahmed say.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. There's a book signing tomorrow in Odense. Yeah, see you.
And Khalid Skriv again. I talk about the general opinions. We don't have to agree with each other to accept things. Right, Khalid? It's right. When did you start to Muslims in Norway? Okay, we started in 2016. Harm. In 2016 with 4 of my good friends. One of them died nearly. Walid El Kubaisi and Lili Bendihi. We started in 2016. And there is. Can you guys start? Then thank you, panel. Very interesting to hear it from view. Thank you to you. One really interesting hour. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Christina. Love your English with Norwegian. Okay, thank you, Frode. I do my best. What you guys do is so important. Thank you. It's important that you are supporting Harm. You are your own soul creator. Okay. I think but it's like okay, just good comments, no discussion today. Okay.
No.
Have you last words, Mustafa? And I'm sorry if we didn't ask some questions you expect to. I don't know. We can talk if you.
Well, no,
is there anything you want to say or?
Well, I just want to say thank you for the support, and I hope that we can we have to support each other in the future too. And all this that you are doing right now is very important, and that's a big inspiration also for other ex-Muslims too, and people who want to break with this this ideology, and yeah, just want to thank you.
I'm so happy to know you, Mustafa, and I'm so happy that you are starting this movement in Denmark. I think it will be great, and it will help a lot of people. And we will collaborate in the future. And I hope we will have you on a live show and on seminars in Oslo, and just have a good collaboration in the future.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I want to say that politically incorrect will continue very often, every month and maybe every week. We will see, and we will have different topics, and we will talk about theology, Islamic theology, and show on the screen what is Islam about. For example, hijab, blasphemy, and all other things, tolerance, intolerance,
slavery, black
history.
people.
Yes, and politics, of course. We cannot ignore the politics. In the start, Mustafa. In the start, I haven't thought that. I haven't think that I will, because I didn't want, or how I can say, I don't want to be included with the politic topics, but they forcing us.
That's because the Islam hasn't separated the politics and the religion. They haven't done that in any Muslim country. They are mixed together. They don't separate those two. They do that in Denmark or Norway. In the Western civilization, they've done it a long time ago. That's why it becomes so political every time we talk about Islam.
Yes, and in the in the West too. I mean, it's the leftist, right wings, everything's like they are pushing one organization. Like if we want to only criticize Islam, want to have give information and help support ex-Muslim people and help them to leave Islam or choose what they want to believe, but they are pushing us all the time that we have to. We cannot ignore left what they are doing or right, but we have to just continue. I think it's the right way we are doing. And I want to thank you everyone, and thank you so much to you, Mustafa, for joining us today.
Thank you,
Ninro.
Too.
See you soon.
Yeah,
okay, in Denmark.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you
Okay,
too.
then I'm closing here. Bye, people.